So then, given that when it comes to improving and expanding their lineup, Thorpe Park is just on a different level at the moment, with not only the Sparkle project intended to give the park some much needed TLC, along with this we'll be getting a brand new theme to what was previously Angry Birds Land, which will open as of next year as Big Easy Boulevard, which is currently under construction as we speak, with just a small project in addition to that being the UK's new tallest and fastest roller coaster going by the name of Hyperia, which is under construction as we speak and is really going up very, very quick. So it's getting quite exciting really, because now we've started on that structure where the lift hill is. It's not too long really until we see the final structure completed, which is incredible. And this got me thinking, if Thorpe Park is going to maintain this momentum, with new attractions being added to the park's lineup and improvements being made around the park when needed, what do I think we could see being added to the park in future years, and what areas around the park do I see them redeveloping in future years to come at Thorpe Park? So then, just before we get into this video, I do want to make it clear, like most of my videos have been over the past few weeks, this is taking what is actually happening with obviously Hyperia and the Sparkle project and Big Easy Boulevard, and taking that information to what I think this could expand upon. So the stuff in this video isn't happening at the park and there is no confirmation of it. It is just things which I think would be great to see at the park in future years, and things which I personally could reasonably see them looking at, like things that I think they would reasonably want to adapt in future. So that obviously means there's no fact behind this, so don't take this as gospel and think this is actually happening. And I'd also like to mention, I'd love to know if there's things that you think would be changed in future years and added to it in the comments. It'd be great to hear, because that's the bit I'm most enjoying about making these videos, is being able to sort of actually talk about this and have conversation with people in the comments about what we could actually see added to Thorpe Park, because it holds such a special place in so many of our hearts, and it's great to see what other people think could be added, because it adds a different perspective on it really, doesn't it? So then, I'll stop blabbing because I've blabbed a lot there, and I'll get into the actual things I think they could change. So first up is an area of the park which has sat dormant for way too long now, and that is the Slammer's ride area. Now I'm sure a lot of you remember the Slammer. It was a very, very famous ride at Thorpe Park, a very rare ride for Thorpe Park to have in that as well. And the Slammer obviously was an S&S Sky Swat, I'm pretty sure. I may have got that a little bit off, but I'm pretty sure it was an S&S Sky Swat, which was a very unique ride. There was only a few in the world, and it was a great ride to have at the park. However, it had its issues. I think the most prominent issue which I can remember with this was they had to get it very evenly balanced for it to operate properly, because obviously there's a large number of people on either side. If it's not balanced, it can't operate correctly. There was other issues as well as this, but due to it essentially always requiring maintenance and constantly going down because of these issues, the Slammer has not operated at the park in many years, and now has even been partly deassembled. If you go in the queue to Black Mirror Labyrinth, you're in the old Slammer queue line, and if you look to your left, you can actually sometimes see into the ride area where the Slammer still sits. And I personally think this is a perfect space for a new flat ride, and that is because I think flat rides at Thorpe Park are a great thing to have, and they're the most likely Merlin park in my opinion to get a really intense, unique flat ride. I know Towers actually quite possibly could, but then again they've got height issues, so there's a limitation there. The most likely ride which I could see going in here is an Intamin tourbillon, or tourbillon, probably butchered that pronunciation, but this is the ride model which I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar. It's featured in many, many games and photos of theme park flat rides, and that is essentially because this ride is mesmerising and very unique. And there are a few around the world, but not many as of current, especially I don't know of any in Europe, let alone the UK. There's definitely not one in the UK. And that would be a ride which not only would be unique to the other flat rides at the park, because I think another swing ride wouldn't be the most feasible because you've already got Rush and Vortex, and I don't think a sort of going around in a two-axis spinning motion would work because of Slammer, whereas this looks different enough that it won't interfere with the other dynamics the flat rides have at the park, but so mesmerising that I can tell you now that that ride will get a very large visitor numbers just because it will be amazing to look at. And mainly I'm putting in this list because I think it would be cool to have at Thorpe Park. That's the main reason, let's be honest. Or as well as that, just consolidating that I'm still upset I haven't done one, I would like to see a Huss topspin, possibly the flawless model, but that is something which I could see Thorpe Park getting because again, it doesn't interfere with any of the dynamics of the other flat rides at the park. You can have it look visually incredible, which I'm guessing it will be something upbeat if they were to get one, because Thorpe Park said they want to have a more positively themed area and not just dark themed everywhere. I just think it would be a great thing to see. Now obviously this wouldn't be a thing of improving upon the lineup, it would be a lot of money to buy a completely new ride, so I don't think we'll see this for a number of years, but I do personally think out of all the areas at the park, this will be the next one looked at in my opinion. The next thing which I could see them adding to the park is not anything as exciting as a new ride or anything unfortunately, but it is something which I think UK parks need need, and it's something quite vital to all theme parks really, and that is more shaded areas around just the park as it is, and queue lines. And I'm not saying Thorpe Park doesn't have them, they do have quite a few shaded areas. See, the issue is I'll notice this more than other people. Because of my eyesight, really high sunlight can really mess with my vision quite a lot. So I notice it a lot. But Thorpe Park does have times when you're in queue lines and there's no cover that you can get from direct sunlight, and it isn't the nicest, and obviously that isn't only for vision, it can cause burns and everything. And I think in terms of guest accessibility and just making it more of that well-rounded experience at being at the park, I think Thorpe Park would actually look at adding things like this. Not only for like shade from the sun, but also if it ever were to rain at the park, you'd have more places that people could stand under shelter, especially in queue lines, so that you're not getting soaked. Because sometimes you're in Stealth's queue line, or another example would be the outdoor section on Saw in the sort of cattle pen, and it can be quite unbearable really in the sunlight. Yeah, that's just mainly probably in here because I'm being more noticeable to it. So there's a high chance that a lot of people disagree with that. After that, something that I see them adding is something which they've already started adding to the rides, which is actually one of the reasons I've put it in this video. And that is adding these preloading screens, which we're already seeing being added to, I'm pretty sure it's Colossus and Stealth, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they're adding preloading screens just to make those dispatches quicker. So the screen as you're going around the queue line or into the station, I'm guessing is where it's going to be, will show you how to pull down on your harness, where you put your bags, to how to buckle the seat belts and how to release them when you get off again. Just getting those people on the ride and getting those trains dispatched, which I think is going to be absolutely great if they were to add it to every single ride, because it will mean every ride in the park will have that little bit more of guest understanding before they were to sit on the train, meaning dispatches are quicker, and that, although is a small change, will overall improve a lot around the park because guests will be getting on more, they'll be happier, it'll be a nicer atmosphere because you're able to get on more in your day at the park. Now on to the really unrealistic things, as if it hasn't been unrealistic enough in this video already. I've literally said spend hundreds of thousands or millions on a brand new ride model to go where Slammer's sat. But even more unrealistic, which I think would still be needed in future, is the ghost train building at the park. Now I am very aware that this was only what, last year that we had ghost train open at the park. However, I think out of all the reliable sort of attractions that you have at the park, ghost train I think could do with a bit of work with this park's new sort of era. Now that isn't an insult to it because it can be a great ride, but the issue I think at the minute with this attraction is it is very much dependent on the actors giving you a great experience, which they always do when I've been on it, by the way. I'm not slating this ride at all, but the issue is, I think when you rely on actors constantly, it makes it a little bit more uncertain as to the experience each group will get and how consistent it will be. And I just think that this ride, although the actors do portray a great experience, I feel like this ride building, being as big as it is, could be used for something a little bit more special and a little bit more impressive for the park, in that this ride building is massive. And I always say it, and I'll say it again, I think this ride building is perfect for a trackless dark ride. And you could still have it themed to horror, because I think that would be something which Thorpe Park could do perfectly. Have a horror themed trackless dark ride in that building. I think it would go down a treat. But that is very expensive and it's also a big thing to do. So that is more a thing of, I could see the park working on this when they have to get rid of Ghost Train. This isn't just me, by the way. There are a few people who go on it and say, although the actors deliver a great experience, it is an awful big space and I think they could use it for a little bit more. And last but certainly not least, something which is the most unrealistic in this whole video, given that I'm saying it'll be in the next few years, it is somewhere where we thought would be getting the park's next coaster until we realised it was going into Old Town, and that is the island located next to Swarm Island. And that is because it's a decently sized bit of land and can be used, because as of recent they've been storing things there before using them on site. So I think that it's definitely land that they could look into developing on, and it means that they could add to their lineup, because as we've seen, Thorpe Park is wanting to add to their lineup, hence why they've not taken any coasters away in terms of getting into Old Town. They're building upon it with Hyperia. I think that this would be a great opportunity to build something unique to the UK. Even an RMC, I know, dreaded, and I've made that judgment now, that's going to get me laughed at, or an RMC Raptor, or something quite unique for the park, possibly a dive coaster. I know that they're not getting the best rep as of recent because they are quite cookie cutter in a lot of cases, but it would be great to see at the park, or even the best one in my opinion, a Mack Extreme spinning coaster. Could you imagine that on the Thorpe Park skyline? It would be incredible, especially for the UK. That really would be the first in the UK, and I think we've only got 2 in the world at the minute. You've got Ride to Happiness, is it Time Traveller or Time Turner at Dollywood? So yeah, 2. Or is it Silver Dollar City? I'm not sure where the other one is. I'm really good with theme park stats. I'm the definite person to have a YouTube channel on it. Yeah, those are the things that I could think of. Thank you for watching. If you can think of things that you would like to see developed at the park in future years or changed, please do put it in the comments because it's great to see. And I often find myself reading the comments and going, that makes much more sense than what I've put in the video. So please do comment thoughts that you have on this. I'd love to read it and it really is great to hear. If you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. It really does make the world of difference and really does help this channel out. So then, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.